fantastic Monday right here with 3D Politics. I've got all three Davids, the Davids that matter, David Van, David Oldham, and David D'Ambroso. 3D Politics, you can catch me, Tom E. McKay, right there on Twitter. And we're going to talk a lot today. We're going to talk about the impeachment trial, of course. Super Bowl ads, we're going to talk about those a little bit.
Good.
The governor Stitt, something about a Medicaid block.
Yes.
I have a story about Kendra Horn takes a teacher to work day, and another vaccine update, a story from Oldham, and a special promotion that we're going to talk about right before that governor story. But what do you think about that impeachment trial? Anybody?
Is it still going on?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Well, it's basically over. They're
Yeah, I haven't been following it for months.
Pretty good stuff.
My real question is, when does the next impeachment effort start? What's the next one?
It's already started.
The real question and the real trial of the next impeachment is how badly does Nancy Pelosi want to further harm the franchise of the Democrat Party? Because they had to drag her along on this one.
yeah.
You know, I think she's going to say, you know what, enough of this. We've got re-election coming up in November.
Did you hear or see my post that I put up where Nancy Pelosi's own constituents are upset with her? They're calling her a sellout, a liar, things like that. And it was
Well, these things are true, but why are they calling her that?
in this particular case, it was several reasons, but they were upset about. I'm trying to remember what they had. I had
She
to
didn't go
look
far
real
enough?
quick. Yeah, it was something to do with.
She didn't John Wilkes Booth
I
Trump?
don't, actually, at the moment, I don't remember, but it was not being Democrat enough.
Fair. That's right.
Remember when Schiff said this? He read the manifesto of the Democratic Party, and he said, "A specter is haunting the Senate, the specter of communism. All the powers of old Europe have entered into a holy alliance to exorcise this specter. Adam Schiff, Gerald Nadler, Val Demings, Jason Crow, Sylvia Garcia, Hakeem Jeffries, Zoe Lofgren, social radicals, and deep state police spies." That was
said that?
Adam Schiff.
Adam,
It's a facsimile of what he said.
I think this is going to go
Put it
down.
with
D-Day
Tom
speech.
Spin.
Tom, this is going to go down the history books as an abuse of congressional powers.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to hurt the institution of Congress long term.
As a professional troll, I watched all the comments going by on the Fox feed, and I got to say, the electorate's very informed, and it was probably 3,000 to 1 pro-Trump comments.
That's Fox.
You watched all of that?
I watched too much of it, yeah.
You know what? I used to have that problem, and then I got a life.
Well, I'm just trying to keep up with you, Dave.
Yeah.
I'm running about as long on impeachment time as I am on Super Bowl time.
You cannot test a government until it's under assault or decay. And this is what's going on. Our system process is being assaulted. I learned so much from Philbin. This guy's brilliant. Did you see the lawyer Philbin?
Yes, yes.
One of the things that I didn't know was that the Senate has a higher level of oath than the House. They have to swear to impartiality, where the oath in the House is lower.
Or
I thought you
Maroney,
might
if
have a
you're
Well,
Okay.
in this particular case, yes, but that's it. They have to, and it's a special oath they take just for the impeachment.
Yeah, and does anybody keep their oath? That's my
Well,
question.
yeah,
Well, God knows whether you keep your oath or not. So, I think that's what comes into play.
yeah, but that doesn't do us any good with
It's
government when government runs
Don't worry.
amok.
It's
You'll get your oversight
amazing
when they're dead.
how much God's leading on these senators seem to follow party lines, though. It's amazing how God just chooses to lead all the Democrats one way and all the Republicans, except for Mitt, of course.
Most of the time when I hear people talking about God's will, it strangely benefits that person who is speaking of God's will. It's
Right.
very odd. I've not figured this out yet.
And I'll say this, as a former licensed minister, when it says, thou shalt not take the name of thy Lord thy God in vain, that's done more from the pulpit from those in the pews. Because it's the person who says, thus saith the Lord, when the Lord has not spoken.
I don't think they
Well,
ever
of course.
take the name of special interest groups in vain.
So, it just, anyway, it's just, to me, it's a lot of hypocrisy. This was all about politics from the beginning to the end.
But I thought it was brilliant the way the founding father system works. It slowed down the fight. We're not killing each other.
Well, it was interesting
mostly.
to go on to what Dave was saying was how many times the Democrats today, the Democrat House managers, invoke the name of God. Mentioned the one, judge from Texas. She got up there and
Garcia.
talked about since she was a little girl and going to church and
she went to church with the founding fathers. Yes, what I understand.
And,
no, that was Inhofe who said who was it is 10-minute speech afterwards. They went back into regular session to have their time. And he talked about all the different impeachments, and he put Johnson into the modern impeachment.
He was there.
Like, well,
But I
He's a real paleo,
James
like
Inhofe,
us.
yes, he looked like he probably was around then.
It bears repeating again what I said a few weeks ago. I'm surprised how constitutional all these Democrats have become. I just can't figure out which constitution.
And how they quote Republicans and how they quote the founders, and they misuse the quotes constantly, but the
children will look it up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which is why I say I just can't figure out which constitution they're referring to.
Constitution of their own self-interest, right?
Yeah.
Self-aggrandization.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and how they talk so much about it being selfless and not self-aggrandizing and for all these motives, when in reality everything they're about is just the opposite.
Well, it reminds me, it's very convenient. You know, it's like everyone wants to say God's on their side. Just these Democrats, someone should Photoshop. Good meme idea. The Gott mit uns on the belt. There's the belt on every SS soldier, right? God is with us.
Oh.
You know, and so that's just what everybody invokes God.
Tom, I want to ask our viewers to put in the comments there what they think the final vote count's going to be on this. Now, it takes, 68 senators to convict, I think?
2/3.
So they're going to get to about 49.
67 would be 67 would be enough. Are they even going to get 50?
Yeah, maybe 50.
I don't know, because
For conviction?
I think they top out at 50.
Well, maybe. That would mean they would have to get somebody other than Collins and Romney.
The talk is that Democrat from West Virginia, Manchin, may not vote to convict.
Well, see, that's going the other direction.
Wants to be elected.
So we're not even talking. And if you got Romney and Collins to swing for conviction, you're not even at 50. You're at 49.
Right.
So then you get Manchin going the other way. You're only 48. So the question is there anybody else that is thinking of, and I haven't heard of it.
Yeah. Because I'll gladly trade Manchin for Romney. I'm there. You know?
To all my friends in Utah, we told you so.
Yes.
And some of you did know better. Yes, you did.
I was amazed at how consistently the Democrats would refer to our system as a democracy, where they love the mob rule.
Well, and that's both of them. Both. It's gotten so overused that people's heads have just accepted that we're a democracy. And in a sense, we are. In one form of the word, we are. But in truth, we are not a democracy.
Constitutional republic with democratic functions, like voting.
With some democratic
And I
functions.
think the key thing in being a republic is that you have minority rights. And that's the essential thing here, that you can't just on a 50+1 vote whatever you want.
That can't be right, because then the Democrats would support that if it's about minority rights.
Yeah, wouldn't it be?
The thing that I was most appalled at,
As long as you could vote for it.
the assault, the attempt by Schiff particularly to concentrate power in the hands of the single judge. He sounding like Satan, asking Jesus to throw himself from the pinnacle. He was telling the Senate and the judge, "You have the power within you to do this." And what they wanted him to do was concentrate the power of our government instead of separating. It was insidious, only seconded by Garcia. asking for the president to prove his innocence.
Right.
Garcia.
The judge, and this was what was so amazing with so many of these people who were on the House managers are lawyers. They of all people should know better that we have a Fourth and Fifth Amendment right protection to not self-incriminate.
Yeah, but
and their whole point
don't
was
care
that if
about
you're not,
wait a minute, you're asking lawyers to be ethical. Keep that in mind.
Hey.
Someone should ask Garcia to prove that she's not a communist, prove that
Yeah.
she's not engaged in subversive activities against the United States.
I asked
Exactly.
I asked him to prove that Eric Chiamella wasn't the whistleblower. Show me the proof. And did you notice his last name starts with the letter CIA?
Ooh. Does Alex Jones know that yet?
Did you know that the Twin Towers in New York were 11 unless you woke up and you were laying down, then they were an equal sign?
Oh.
That's the problem, numerology.
Maze.
It's a joke I want to tell, but I can't tell.
I really can't.
Yep.
I think it was also a message from the ruling class. What they're doing to Donald Trump right now is a message from the ruling class. If they can do this to Trump, they can do this to anybody. They don't want any private sector business coming in here again.
Well, it's so funny. This is what's happening to private citizens.